Lucy, it took the jury less than 6 hours to find William Roach not guilty of all 6 charges against him. He stood staring straight ahead with his hands at his side as each not guilty verdict was read out to him.
Amy Welch was in court at Preston. Amy, so what did they have to say?
William Roach arrived at Preston Crown Court this morning with his family at his side. The prosecution barrister Anne White QC opened her closing speeches by telling the jury someone is lying. In the past hour, Lancashire police have closed Blackpool Promenade here because they say it's simply too dangerous. High tide hit at 10 o'clock. That, combined with these strong winds, make for what can only be described as the perfect storm. We've seen roofs blown off homes, bins flying down the street, and police losing their battle with bollards.
Amy Welch reports.
She claims she was the victim of a vicious smear campaign. A campaign waged by her former husband, Charles Saatchi, who sent an email read out in court accusing her of drug use.
What went wrong was that there was no investigation of the Saatchi email, which was the basis for the judge changing his mind.
Nigella Lawson wasn't the one on trial, but when the Grillo sisters' defence accused her of illegal drug use, she was a witness with no legal rights.
So this, as Harry was just telling us, was clearly a lucky escape for many. But what more have you been able to find out about the operating company?
Well, Alistair, this is a company which has been here for many years here in Liverpool. They've been here for around 10 years and act as a major tourist attraction for the city. As you heard in Harry's report, they're even attracting a visit from Her Majesty the Queen last year, but they haven't been without their problems. It was only in March this year that the vessel last sank. No one was on board then, but it was taken out of action, and it was only around 3 weeks ago that it was allowed back in the water. This is the moment the Duck Marine sank in Liverpool's Albert Dock. 31 passengers were on board and emergency services launched an immediate rescue effort.
Amy, what have the police said about this arrest?
Well, we understand that Nigel Evans was arrested sometime this morning at his constituency home in Pendleton. That's a Lancashire village around 18 miles from Preston Police Station, where we are now, and where he's still being questioned. The Deputy Speaker, for once, reluctant to speak.
Good morning.
On a morning overshadowed by events of the day before. Nigel Evans was seen leaving Preston Police Station late last night after hours of police questioning. Lucy, Nigel Evans broke down in tears as the not guilty verdicts were read out to him. He was handed a tissue to wipe his eyes and was still weeping as he left the dock. Such was his relief that he is now a free man.
It's all a bit of a blur, really, but I found him. And then I thought they could bring him back, but I knew really they couldn't.
Joshua Unsworth was only 15 when he took his own life. Like most teenagers, he was always on the internet.
You can't prohibit children from going on the internet because they just will.
After Josh's death, it emerged he may have been subjected to cyberbullying on the website Ask FM, the same site used by Hannah Smith, who killed herself on Friday. Josh's mum says people shouldn't be allowed to use these sites anonymously.
From Woolwich, this report now from Amy Welch.
Well, it's now a week since the murder of Lee Rigby, and on the street where he was killed here in Woolwich, you can see the mass of flowers behind me is continuing to grow. All day, passers-by have been stopping and laying flowers, and at 2:20 they stopped in their tracks to hold a 2-minute silence at the time of Lee's death. The results of a post-mortem examination found that Lee died from multiple stab wounds. And now, as this mass police investigation continues, they'll be wanting to find out how and why